Welcome everybody to week 1 of our yoga series. This session's all about having a good stretch of your body and getting us back into the idea of what yoga's all about. So find yourself a comfortable seated position. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. You could have your legs out in front of you, or you could be kneeling, and settle yourself down into the ground. Have your hands relaxed, either in your lap or on your knees or thighs. Draw yourself up nice and tall, and either close the eyes or drop the gaze down to the floor. But don't lose your posture. Make sure the crown of the head reaches up to the sky. And bring your attention to the breath, the natural breath, just as it is, as you find it. Come inwards and check in with yourself. How are you doing today? How are things for you? You can let go of whatever's happened before class or might happen after it, and be in the present moment. Use the breath to anchor yourself here, starting to take more conscious control now. As you inhale and exhale through your nose, if that's okay for you. If you're familiar with the Ujjayi breath, then that slight constriction in the throat will give an aspirated sound. Lengthening and slowing the breath. Think about the belly swelling as you inhale, the rib cage rising out to the side and the top of the chest lifting. And then as you exhale, everything gently settles back down. The tummy draws into the spine right at the end of that exhale to push out the remaining air, ready for a lovely new inhale to start. Following the breath in and out of the body. Noticing how after even just a few breaths, mindful breaths, everything starts to soothe and settle, bringing you into the present moment, ready to practice yoga. Bring your hands together at the heart, yogis. Take a nice inhale here and a bow to yourselves, to our practice. Inhale again as you lift your head, link the fingers together, and as you exhale, push the hands away, round the back and drop the head for a nice back stretch. And if the wrists and fingers are uncomfortable like this, you can always turn the palms towards you. Otherwise, get a nice stretch in the fingers by pushing the palms away. Couple more breaths like this. And then on your next inhale, no rush, lifting the hands up towards the ceiling. Bending the elbows as you exhale, and then taking one more nice deep breath, pushing the arms up, releasing the fingers as you exhale, and bringing the arms shoulder height. Flexing the fingers, if it's comfortable for you to do so, as though you're pushing walls away. You'll really engage all the arm muscles, feel those shoulder muscles. If that's not comfortable for you, take this opportunity to circle the wrists, wriggle the fingers. If you can get that stretch in the body, waking up those muscles in the arm, that's great. Just a couple of breaths more here. Good. And then we're going to drop our right shoulder towards the right ear. So inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, right ear towards the right shoulder. Taking the head over to that side and release the arms down. Good. On an inhale, lift just the right arm up and over. Let the hand gently land on the top of the ear, on the skull, And then breathe into that arm. So find length in the body, and on the exhale, gently allow the head to fold over. So we're stretching down our left-hand side, fingertips touching or pointing towards the mat. And this should be a nice stretch along the side of the neck, across the top of the shoulder. We're not forcing the head down, just encouraging that lengthening. I'm going to take this into more of a side stretch for the ribs now. So on an inhale, lifting the arms up. On the exhale, the top arm is coming over the head. So now you've got your right hand on the mat and your left hand reaching up. From here, I want you to bring your left hand to your heart and spin the heart towards the sky. So we've got more opening now in the front of the body. This left shoulder is lifted back. And you can keep the hand there, you could take it to the hip, or if you want to, you can lift it up and over again. If that makes you bend forward, then keep one of the more open postures with the hands on the hip or the heart. And breathe into the side ribs, breathe into that left-hand side of the body. On your next inhale, we're going to rise up with both hands and come over to the other side, side bend on the other side. So the left hand is going down to the mat, the right hand is reaching up. Good, breathing into this lung now. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, there's no rush. I'm going to bring the hands together at the top and back to the heart space. If you're sitting cross-legged, change the cross of the legs. And if you are not comfortable with cross-legged, then maybe just let the legs fiddle around a bit, have the knees bent, legs out straight. Just experiment with what way is good for you. And we'll do that again with the opposite cross of the legs. So bringing the hands to the heart to start with. Inhale, nice deep breath, link the fingers. Exhale, round the back. This time straight away, lifting up on an inhale. Exhale, opening the hands out. We'll stay here for 2 nice deep breaths. Pushing into the palms of the hand. Get that stretch going if you can. Then nice big inhale, lengthen through the spine, ready to drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Feel how that might intensify the stretch along this right arm. And then drop the hands down to the mat. Good. Just the left hand goes up as you inhale, over as you exhale. Lightly cradling the side of the head, not pushing it. And trying to breathe into that arm and exhaling the neck over to the side to feel a lengthening along these long, strong neck muscles over the shoulder, maybe through the arm a little as well. One more deep breath here. And then we're going to inhale, exhale into our side bend, moving the arms as we inhale and exhale, coming over into this stretch now, moving down to the hip, through the ribs. And let's bring the hand to the heart. See if we can spin the torso around to the ceiling a little. Feel how that opens the body up a little more, and then decide where to place that hand. You can go up and over again. You can keep it on the hip. Relaxing the head, relaxing the body on the exhale, maybe bending that left elbow for these last couple of breaths, getting more of a stretch, but still with good contact with those sit bones into the floor. Ready to come up and over to the other side, inhaling up and changing around. Good. Let's just do that heart positioning on this side as well, and see how that changes things. You decide where the hand rests. Last couple of breaths. Inhale up, lifting both hands. Exhale down to the heart space. And take the hands down onto the ground. So again, you don't have to be cross-legged, but if you are cross-legged, then just notice which leg is in front. We're going to change around in a minute. So it's fine to do this with both knees bent in front of you. Let's walk the fingers forward, but try and keep the heart lifted. So lengthen the body as we come into a forward fold. And it's fine if you want to sit on a block or a blanket for this. Keep the connection with the ground. So as soon as the bottom lifts up, we've gone a little bit too far. And nice inhale. Exhale, bending the elbows, fold forward. So you might come down to your forearms. You might be resting on the palms. You might be on your fingertips. That's absolutely fine. Wherever you are with it, we're going to walk our hands over to the right-hand side, turning the body as we do so, so that it comes over the right thigh. So we're in a twist here. If this is not comfortable in your body, you can ease off by walking yourself a little towards the front again. If this is okay for you, I want you to stay here for 3 more deep breaths, creeping that left hand forward a little. As you breathe out, see if you can increase the stretch. If you need to reverse up a little bit on the inhale, do so, and then folding, creeping the hand forward on the exhale. One more time. Good. And then rising up a little as you walk slowly to the center and on round to the other side. So using your hands to support the movement when you feel that you're facing your thigh over your left thigh, bowing down, trying to keep the length in the spine rather than rounding down, and slowly walking fingertips away from you till you feel a nice opening, a stretch along the arm, shoulder, and side of the body. Again, noticing if the sit bones lift up off the floor, just ease yourself back a little bit. Try and find that contact and then rediscover the forward fold and stretch on the exhale. Creeping the right fingers forward for the last couple of deep breaths, if you can. Good. And walking yourself slowly back to center, rolling up. Let's change the cross of the legs. And before we experience that stretch on the other side, bring your hands to your knees or your thighs, and we'll take a couple of cat-cow stretches. So inhaling, lift the chest, lift the gaze, nice long neck. Exhale, take the tummy back to round the back, drop the chin down towards the chest. On the inhale, we're opening the front of the body, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the head. On the exhale, we're rounding the back to stretch the back of the body, dropping the head for that neck stretch as well. Twice more in your breath length, so no rush, no hurry. You don't need to be as slow or as quick as me. Bringing yourself back to the center when you're ready. Taking your fingertips to the floor in front of you and walking slowly forward. Again, trying to keep length so the chest is lifted. The chest is coming forward instead of down. And then when you get there, we're going to start walking our hands over to the left. Seeing how this feels with a different cross of the legs. The intensity will be greater on one side than the other. So this time we're walking the right fingers forward to start with, seeing if we can really get that stretch going whilst keeping this right hip planted down either on the mat or block or blanket that we're sitting on. Using the inhales to find length, maybe lifting out of the forward fold, and the exhale to relax into it. One more breath here. Slowly walking the fingers around to the front and continuing over to the other side. Re-engage the sit bones with the floor or the block. And when you feel that you're turned over to the other thigh, again, relaxing down and creeping those left fingertips forward with every exhale. Breathing deeply into the left lung, into the side of the body, and enjoying the feeling of opening and stretching down the side body. Make this your last long, deep breath. And then slowly walking back to the center with the fingers. And again, rolling up as you walk the hands back towards you. Let's take the feet out in front of us, a little shake out of the legs, a little stretch out if you want. And then I want you to take the legs as wide apart as is comfortable. So facing forward, but with the legs wide apart. Good. And then just bring the right foot into the thigh and rest the left hand on the left leg. So we're going to take a side bend. So we're not bending forward or over the leg like we sometimes do. This is going to be a side bend. So let's start by lifting up our left hand, inhale. And as you exhale, sliding the left hand down the leg and trying to aim the head and the fingers towards the toes. Now again, naturally, the body's wanting to go forward here. So we're going to bring that top hand to the heart. Inhale and open and lift the heart to the sky. Okay, so this gets us more into this sideways position. And you might find now that it's more comfortable to have the hand on the hip rather than lifting it up and over. It might feel tighter. Wherever you are comfortable with staying, 2 more nice deep breaths in this side bend. And a lot of these postures we're going to explore over the next few weeks and just observe if the body opens up a little more to them. Flex the left toes, so we're really getting a stretch down the whole body. And on your next inhale, rise up, lift the hands up, and exhale, hands can come down the center and rest. Let's swap sides, so we're bringing the right foot out and the left foot in, and the toes want to be pointing up to the sky and flexed. Okay, if that's really uncomfortable in the leg, allow it to bend a little, but we want to try and get that outwards movement. We're opening things outwards. Resting the right hand on the leg, lift the left hand up. Exhale, come over to the side as you slide down. And let's see if we can spin ourselves a little more into this posture. Bring that left hand onto the heart and encourage the whole torso to spin upwards to the sky a little more. This left shoulder is coming back. And then explore the stretch in a whole different way. My arm does not want to go over as fully as it did before. Yours might, but we're really opening up the side of the body more. And breathe into wherever you feel the tightness. Relax and release on the exhale wherever you can. Good. One more breath. Inhale, let's rise it up. Both hands, big stretch up to the sky. Exhale, hands down the center. Lovely. Bring the legs forward. So both legs forward, ready for a forward fold. We're going to do and make it into a wave. So a dynamic forward fold. We're not going to stay in it straight away. Again, you're welcome to be on a block or blanket to lift the hips for this. And if you want to, the knees can bend a little. We'll work on straightening the legs and stretching out these hamstrings over the next few weeks. So flex those toes, point them up to the sky. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, fold from the hips. Try and keep a flat back as long as possible. If you want to, bending the knees, and then make a wave-like motion. Bring the hands back towards the hips and up again. So imagine you're like the ocean washing up on a beach. On the exhale, you wash forward with the hands into your forward fold, and then you draw the hands back like the ocean coming back into the body of water. Waves on a beach in your own breath length. Exhale takes you into the forward fold. Inhale rediscovers that length. Chest comes forward as far as possible, rounding and dropping the head at the last moment. A couple more times like this, nice and dynamically. Then we're going to stay in our forward bend. So no rush, but next time that you exhale and the arms come down, stay in your forward fold. You can rest the hands to the side of the legs, or if it's more comfortable, rest them on the legs. Doesn't matter where. Then the knees on the inhale and try and find a little more length. Bring the heart forward. On the exhale, see if you can straighten the legs and bow down. 3 more breaths like that. You can stay static, but sometimes it helps to bend the knees, release from the posture on the inhale, and you can explore a little deeper forward fold on the exhale. Last one. To rise up, we're going to do it in stages. Start lifting your hands off of the mat. Wait until the upper arms are level with the ears, then lift the head, then the torso starts rising up. Nice big stretch to finish, and bring the hands down to the floor. And come onto all fours. So we want to set ourselves up in tabletop pose. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And if the wrists don't like this, you can come onto forearms. Get length in the spine by thinking crown of the head forward, sit bones backwards. Nice and square. And from here, we're going to walk the hands forward to puppy dog position. So start walking the hands forward, trying to keep a long back. Keep the hips up in the air. And relax the heart towards the mat. We've got this nice stretch in the back, which we get in down dog, but without worrying about the hamstrings, we can really think about lengthening through the back, breathing into the back of the body without the hamstrings trying to pull the hips in the opposite direction, and often that results in a rounded back. So get a sense of how this feels. The head can be loose between the arms. You don't have to hold it up or tuck it down, just in a comfortable position. And think about taking the crown of the head away from the sit bones, lengthening all the way down through the body, softening between the shoulder blades, heart reaching towards the floor. Good. Now you can stay with this, coming in and out of tabletop pose and puppy dog, or we're going to explore down dog a little. So walking the hands back towards you, not quite underneath the shoulders, really spreading into the fingers to get good connection with the floor. Tuck the toes under. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift halfway. So with bent knees, we're taking the hips up. Press into the hands and see if you can find that long back that we just had in our puppy dog pose a moment ago. And then gradually, slowly, straightening the legs, easing the heels towards the floor. Doesn't matter if they don't get there. Coming into your full down dog. So if at this stage you want to come back to kneeling, absolutely fine. We're going to stretch one hamstring out at a time. So deliberately bending the left knee. Push through the right heel until that heel is really reaching down into the mat towards the floor. And you can do this on one knee with the leg stretched out behind you. If you want to take a break at any time by coming down to kneeling, that's absolutely fine. And then let's swap over. Deliberately bend the right knee and push through the left foot, stretching it out. Good. Breathing into the stretch. Lovely. And then bending both knees together, lengthen the hips, press the hands into the mat, and take both heels down. Notice if the back wants to round doing that. And then release the knees. Start walking forward into a forward fold. So from kneeling, you can join us coming into a forward fold near the front of your mat. Let the head hang down. You can keep the knees bent. So it's a gentle, soft forward fold for now. Let the head hang and shake a little, yes and no. Arms can be touching the floor, touching your legs, dangling down. Bring the hands now to the shins. Bend the knees a little and lengthen the back. Lift the heart, lift the head. So we're coming into a 90-degree angle, a half forward fold. Take a nice big inhale there. And as you exhale, see if you can lift the hips up and bring the crown of the head down, dropping the arms into your fullest forward fold. One more time. So hands on shins, lengthen through the back. Crown of the head reaches forward. Good. And then as you exhale, hinging at the hips, reaching those hips up to get a stretch down the back of the body. This time, bend the knees, press into the feet, and slowly, slowly start to roll up. Taking your time, using the power of the legs rather than the back. When you get to the top, rolling the shoulders back, placing the palms forward facing to open and lift the chest. And we've arrived at Tadasana at the top of our mat. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here. We're going to do some arm raises, and if you want to, we can introduce a little toe balance as well, just to get ourselves used to balancing again. Let's just do the arm movements to start with. So bring the hands to the heart. On an inhale, lift them up above the head, and exhale down through the center back to where we started from. Same again, but this time on the inhale, if you want to, come up onto the toes. Good. And as you exhale, gently and slowly, see if you can draw yourself back down to the mat. Well done. Same again. You can stay on the mat if you want to, or you can lift up onto tiptoes and see how controlled you can make that descent. Twice more. If you want to stay up on tiptoes, you can now. So the inhale takes us up. You can either come down or you can stay up on tiptoes for that out breath. And then the inhale, we're either going up again or we're still up. Well done. And the exhale brings us down. Lovely. And release the hands to the side. Take a turn to your left so that you're sideways on your mat. Nice big wide stride. And level up the edges of your feet, the outside edges of the feet, so that you're parallel. So before we do our warrior postures, we want to establish our presence on the mat, making sure the feet are in line. And then we turn the right foot so that the toes point towards the right edge of the mat. And if we want to, we take the left heel back a little bit. So we're in our stable, open warrior position. Hips as parallel to the side of the mat as is comfortable to be so. Inhale, lift the arms, look down that right arm. Exhale, bend the knee and come into your warrior two. And if your toes, if your knee comes over the toes or further than over the toes, creep that foot forward. You can go deeper into your warrior. See if you can drop the hips down a little as we breathe. So really feel strong in this position. If you prefer, you know you can always take the hands to the hips. That relaxes the shoulders a little more. Good. So if you can drop the shoulders away from the ears. Press into the feet, especially the back foot. We often take the weight on the front foot in this position. Push into the back edge of the foot. Lovely. Nice big inhale here. And then on the exhale, bend that right arm, bring it down onto the thigh to turn this into side angle. Hand can be on the hips to start with. Get that length from the edge of the back foot all the way through the body, out through the crown of the head. And again, bring your hand to your heart. We're going to open our body up to the side because often we're facing forward a little in our side angle. So let's take that shoulder back, and you have the usual choice now of keeping the hand where it was on the hip, or you can reach it up. See how that feels. If you feel that it brings you forward again, take it back. So find the posture which gives you the most opening, the most length up through the body, and breathe into it. Make sure those fingers are alive. So even these fingers that are resting on the thigh, let's spread them out, energy throughout the whole body. Last big inhale here. And on the exhale, turn to face the front toes, place the hands on the mat, and turn the back toes. So all 10 toes face forward and you're in a lunge position. Let's inhale, lift the chest here. Exhale, sink the hips down. You can always drop the knee if you want to. We're just going to take one more breath like that. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, sinking the hips down, stretching through that back heel. And then get a little rock backwards and forwards. We're going to walk, step into a forward fold. So pushing off from that back foot into our forward fold. Your choice now to bring the feet together or hip width apart, ready to come up. You can roll up as we did before, or press down into the feet and float up with a straighter back, a reverse swan dive. However you arrive, upright on your mat, bring your hands to your heart, ready to do that same movement on the other side. So taking a turn now to your right, the opposite end of my mat is going to become the top, and establishing yourself in place in the center of the mat, nice wide stance, and then turn your left toes to the top of the mat. Adjust the back foot so you've got your warrior stance before we even worry about the top of the body. We always get those foundations right first. Inhale, lift the arms, shoulder height. Exhale, bend the front knee. And notice where that knee goes. Sometimes it tends to go inwards a little. We want to encourage the external rotation. So that knee wants to be pointing over the middle two toes. And again, if it's really going over the foot, you can wriggle the foot away a little bit to get a deeper stretch, a deeper movement in here. Tailbone down to the floor, tummy tucked in, chest is lifted, and the gaze looks along this front arm, along the front middle finger, and you feel strong in this position. Anchor yourself with that back foot pressing into the floor. Nice big inhale. Exhale, take that front arm onto the thigh and come into your side angle. So don't let the arm just hang there and flop there. It's still working, it's still alive. Get those fingers alive. Take the right hand to the heart and spin the heart around. See how that changes the feel of this posture. So you get a more energetic pose. We want all of these lines of energy to be shooting out of us, and then decide whether the hand comes to the hip, goes up in the air. It might be more comfortable staying on the heart. See what's right for you. And the gaze as well could be up, it could be sideways and frontwards, or it could look down at the floor. Sometimes that's more grounding, more stabilizing. What's right for you today? Last inhale into this opening side angle stretch, and then exhale. Hands frame the front foot as you turn all 10 toes to the front of your mat. 2 nice deep breaths here in your lunge. If you want to drop the back knee, you can. Make sure the front knee stays over the ankle. Lift the chest on the inhale and drop the hips down on the exhale, opening through the thighs. And then that last breath, stretching through the back heel and the front of the head. This time though, we're going to walk the hands back round to the side of the mat, turning the toes as we go, so we come into a wide-legged forward fold. Let the knees bend if that helps you to reach the floor. You can always have a block to bring the floor up a little nearer. We'll be taking a twist here in a moment, and sometimes a block can make that easier to get into a little deeper. So check, feet parallel to each other, the outside edges of feet parallel, toes pointing forward, and then bend one knee and the other to allow the hips to relax and drop the torso forward so the head hangs down, crown of the head towards the floor, get a little sway, a little movement into this position. Bringing it to stillness when you're ready. You might be on fingertips, the hands might be up in the air, you might be down on your forearms, wherever is right for you. Bring both hands to the center now and press into the right palm. Take the left hand to the left hip. Going to inhale, lift the chest, lift through the crown of the head, and on the exhale, take a turn. So we're taking a side twist now to our left. You can stay here. You can try the hand on the heart, take a little extra spin, and if you want to, you can lift that top arm. But if that becomes a shoulder thing and an arm thing, then take the hand back to the hip, because what we want is length in the spine and a twist in the body. So any spinal issues, keep facing more towards the floor. You don't need to come into the deepest twist to get the work in the body. If your spine is healthy and fine, see how that twist feels. Opening up, breathing into it, wherever you're feeling that stretch, the muscles, breathe into them. One more inhale. Exhale, hand comes down to the middle. And swap the weight over. So pressing now into your left palm. Bring the right hand to your hip. Remember, you can bend the knees a little, especially to get into this position. Then inhale, lengthen. Lengthen through the spine and the crown of the head, and then turn. So we've got the full extension in our spine before we twist it. The hand comes to the heart if you want to, that extra little twist around. And then see where the hand wants to settle, on the hip or lifting up into the sky. If the knees are bent, then encourage them to straighten. You can bend them again and then try that again. Deep breaths into the pose. Good. One more. And then let that hand float back down to the center. Both hands now in the middle of your mat. Have a little sway from side to side, bending one knee, then the other. And we're going to rise up. We want to do this cautiously. You might want to heel toe your feet in together a little more. It makes it more stability for rising up. Bend the knees. And we're going to start lifting the hands. They can come onto the hips if you want to, or they can go out to the side. Take the head forward and up. Pressing into the legs. Have a nice big reach up as you arrive at the top and bring the hands to the heart. Step the feet together at the front of your mat and turn back to the front into Tadasana. So feet could be touching or hip width apart. Roll the shoulders back, open the hands and breathe. You can drop the gaze or close the eyes for a moment. Scan through the body, see how everything's feeling. Ready to try out our balance. So if you want to come to the wall, absolutely fine. We're going to work on our balance over the week. So I really want it to be a gentle start. So we're going to take tree, and it doesn't matter how fully you are into this pose. I want the aim to be the concentration, the focus of being in a balance for you. So let's stand on our left foot to start with, pressing into the left foot. Lift the left toes, spread them out so you feel that foot is wide and anchored down, rooted down into the floor. The right toes balance near it to start with, and the knee comes out to the side. Your choice, hands to the heart or down by your side, whatever works for you, and find something to gaze at. So it might be the camera, it might be something above or to the side that isn't moving. And then when you're ready, lifting that foot off of the floor, onto the thigh for today, onto the calf for today, and breathing, concentrating, working with the breath. So the breath is our anchor. If you wobble lots, then toes can touch the floor. Little bend in that standing knee makes the muscles work rather than locking the knee. Let's get the leg working. 3 more deep conscious breaths if you can. Can you lift the heart? Can you take the knee out to the side? Can you drop the shoulders? And on your last exhale, see how gently you can place that foot back down onto the floor. Enjoy the transition, both feet taking the weight and then pressing into the right foot. So spreading, lifting the right toes, pushing them down into the mat. Feel really stable. And then testing out the balance, left toes come near to the foot. Get that knee out to the side. Get your hips as open as they're going to be. And then hands come to the heart or down by your side. You pick your focus. And then when you're good and ready, you lift the foot onto the calf. And notice if you hold your breath whilst you do that, if your tongue is stuck to the roof of your mouth and the jaw is clamped together, can you relax within the stability and structure of this balance? The heart is lifted, the posture is lifted, but the lift comes from the idea of the foot and the leg pushing upwards. The shoulders are still relaxed. The leg is strong. 3 more deep breaths here if you can. Ujjayi breath is really good when you want to focus. Make the breath deep and slow. Last one. And the exhale brings that foot deliciously back onto the floor. Hands come down by your sides. And just check in into Tadasana once more. Check in, how were the thoughts today? There's that little voice in the background judging your balance. Did you think, yes, this is good, and that's when you wobbled, or vice versa? Were you telling yourself off for wobbling? Or were you just accepting what was there today? Let's bring our hands to the heart. We're going to come back down onto the mat. So inhale, open the arms up, palms together at the top, down the center they come on the exhale, forward folding, touching the mat, bending the knees, and rolling back to sitting on the mat. We're going to have a look at using our core muscles. Over the next few sessions, we're going to look at boat pose and building up to holding in boat pose, but nice and easy today. I just want to get the idea of these muscles working again. So let's just do a couple of tummy churns. See if you can move the stomach muscles around. You can rest the hands on the legs wherever you want to, and try the other way. So it's the abdominal muscles that we want to work in our boat pose position. Boat pose is where we balance on our sit bones, and today we're going to include the hands as well. Ideally, you're not taking lots of weight in your hands, so don't worry if this is uncomfortable for the wrists, taking them back behind you like this, then hold on to the legs behind the knees, because that's what we'll be doing next week anyway. Lift the chest, whichever posture you are in, roll the shoulders back, draw the tummy towards the spine. Keep breathing. So on an inhale, we prepare. On an exhale, we lift the feet off and we come into our balance. You can keep the hands on the mat, or you can hold the hands behind the knee. And you should feel the abdominal muscles having to work to keep you here. So letting the feet settle down, just try that once more. So lifting the heart, try and keep the length up through the spine, up through the crown of the head. Exhale, rocking back onto the sit bones. and holding yourself in position with those tummy muscles, but remembering to breathe. Good. And release. Feet can come down to the floor and roll yourself back onto the mat. Draw the knees up over your chest and have a little rock and roll, a little massage of the back. Drop the feet down and stretch out the legs nice and long. Hands are down by your hips. You're going to have a full body stretch. So on an inhale, lifting the hands up and over your head. Allow the arms to come down in contact with the floor. Maybe you need to bend the elbows in order for that to happen. On your next inhale, stretch out through the fingers, straighten the arms, point the toes, and stretch the whole of your body. On the exhale, knees come up towards the chest and hands come to meet them. So they come up and over, a little squeeze in our ball. One more time. Inhale, lengthening out the legs, lengthening out the arms above the head, stretching through the tiptoes and the fingers. Exhale, knees come into the chest, hands come to meet them and hug them in. Lovely. Drop the feet to the floor. Make sure they're hip width apart, knees pointing up to the sky. We're going to take bridge pose. Hands come down either side of the hips, palms on the floor. Walk the feet towards the hips until the heels lift up a little, and then just plant the feet down on the floor. So this should make the knees line up over the ankles. And then pressing down into the feet, inhale, lift the hips, roll the back up off the floor into your bridge pose, coming up towards a shoulder balance and then rolling back down again. So hips come down last, trying to roll down the spine. On the exhale, use the length of your breath twice more. So on the inhale, you roll up, you lift the hips high at the top of the breath. On the exhale, we're rolling back down. Good. One more time. Just gonna check my connection. You keep going with your bridge pose. Lovely. And that last roll down, make it nice and slow. And we're going to finish with a spinal twist. So lying on your back with everything in line, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles, knees bent, we're going to shimmy our hips over to the left. So deliberately shimmying them to the left. Take the arms out to the side, as much space as you've got. So they could be shoulder height, they could be closer to the body than that. And then inhale, lift the knees up and towards the chest. Exhale, drop them over to the right. And find the floor. So the knees might be right up near the elbow. They might want to be far away from the body. You might want to touch the feet down onto the floor and wriggle the hips back even more. If the knees aren't resting comfortably together, then take a block or a blanket and place it between the knees. And your choice to keep the head facing up to the ceiling or turn so that the nose points in the opposite direction to the knees. Palms face up. Release and relax. Notice if that left shoulder has lifted up off the ground. Your job for the next few breaths is with every exhale to release a little more of the body down onto the mat. Use the inhale to breathe into areas of tightness. The exhale to encourage a letting go. You can close the eyes if you want to. Last breath on this side. On your next inhale, take the knees to the center, lifting them up. Place the feet on the floor and deliberately shimmy the hips now over to the right. Helps with the twist in the body. And lift the knees up on an inhale. Drop them over to the left on the exhale. It might be different on this side. So finding a comfortable place for them. And if it's not comfortable today, you can have a little practice in the week, padding up under or between the knees with pillows, investigating, shimmying the hips back, taking the knees further away from the arm or closer to it, turning the head or keeping it facing up to the ceiling. Each exhale releases. Let's go. Nice, slow breath. Make this the last deep one for this side. And on your next inhale, lift the knees. Place the feet back down onto the floor. Shimmy yourself back into line. And you decide for relaxation whether you want to stretch the legs out long now or keep them bent with the knees dropping together, feet wider apart. What is most comfortable for your back? What is most comfortable for you? And then bring the hands down near to the hips, not squashed to the side of the body, but a little bit of space between the torso and the arms. Palms face up to the sky. Find your Shavasana. When you're settled, let the eyes gently close. Not squeezed shut, just resting the eyelids. Check in with those areas that hold on to tension, like the jaw, the tongue, the shoulders. Encourage them to relax now. The pelvis, the thighs, the toes. Now the fingers gently curled, just flopped where they are, not held in any particular position. And often I give you a guided meditation at the end of the session. Today, I want to leave you in silence for a few moments. And during the silence, I want you to scan through the body, experience any changes you might feel, anything you might notice, any sensations that are there to discover without any judgment, without looking for trouble. And notice how the mind is, how it is compared to the beginning of the session, whether it drifts off, whether it's busy with thoughts. Again, not judging. If the mind goes away, then gently noticing is a meditation in itself, and then bringing it back, either to scanning the body or to noticing the breath, a natural breath, not forced in any way, for the next few minutes. guiding the mind gently back to the practice if you find it wanders off, using the breath as your anchor. Finishing the practice now with a couple of nice deep breaths. Inhale, energy coming back into the body. Exhale, sighing it out. And again. Beginning to make small movements with fingers and toes. Gently moving your head from side to side. Perhaps having a stretch of the limbs. And rolling onto your right hand side with the knees bent, resting there for a moment. You can choose whether to keep the eyes closed a little longer or let them gently flutter open as you use your hands now to press yourself up to sitting. We're going to finish today with a couple of mindful stretches to energize ourselves and a chant Om Shanti 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 Hi, which means to everyone, peace, peace, peace. And we'll use the movement with the hands coming to the head, to the mouth, and to the heart. I'll show you how we're going to do it. So make yourself comfortable seated position. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a couple of deep breaths first. So inhaling, lifting the hands out and up. Exhale, sighing it out as you bring the hands back to the heart space. And again. And then with me, inhaling in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking a bow to yourself, to the practice we've shared. May there be peace in your mind, in your words, in your heart. Namaste, yogis.